Very good morning to everyone. So, Judith sir, you have already started the recording. We can start the session in next 2 minutes.
Sure. So we can kickstart the session. A very warm welcome to all of you and a very good morning. I'm sharing my screen. Kindly confirm if you're able to see my screen. Can anyone please confirm?
Yes, we can, sir.
Okay. So this course is all about SOC, service organization controls, audit, governance, as well as compliance. Okay.
Saurabh, sorry to interrupt you. Did you switch on recording?
Yes.
Okay. Thank you. Go ahead,
there.
please.
Yeah, sure. Okay. So this course is all about service organization controls. How service provider and what is the accountability of a service provider in issuing the service organization controls report. How governing, how they are accountable for governing the external auditors and implementing the controls for the services they are providing to the service receiver, aligning with the 5 trust principles. We'll discuss that in detail. Okay. So this is all about me. So by way of introduction, I am Shojaditya Basu. I am having more than 12 years of experience, accumulating 6.5 years into Big Four organizations and more than 6 years into IT MNCs. So I have worked into SOX ITGC control testing as well as control assurance and control advisory. And my last role was I was accountable for governing the SOC 2 Type 2 audit and extending risk advisory for the services that were outsourced to my organization. So that's all about me, and this is at the actual course coverage. Okay. So it is divided into 4 sessions, but we'll be covering all the course curriculum divided into 5 classes, 5 sessions. Okay. So these are the basic ground rules. So I would request all your participation and all your inputs, and please ensure that there are no background noises, and Q&A will be done at the end of the session. Okay. Okay. So team, before starting with the SOC reports, okay, can anyone please help me to understand that what is SOC and what is SOCs? What is SOC report? What is SOC report? And how it is relevant to any service organization? Why it is so important? Yes, team. Your inputs. Anything which comes to your mind. Anything. Hello, am I audible, team?
Yeah, of course
Yes,
you're
yes,
audible.
you're audible.
Sure.
Yeah. Yes. Yes, Ashok. Can you do you want to give visibility on SOC? What is the
Of
thin
course,
line of
but I'm
difference
waiting
between SOC?
others to respond to your question. Okay.
Yes, anything which comes to your mind, and then I will pick it up.
Yeah, that's what I have been waiting others to respond.
Yeah, my name is Mujib.
Yes, yes.
I'm a GRC consultant in from Oman. So this is SOC report, as per my understanding, even in Oman also it's increasing. So it will evaluate how the organization controls, protect the assets like data operations in terms of information security, data privacy, all processing. Yeah.
So any organization will require SOC. Any organization or a service organization.
Service organization only.
SOC is yes, service organization. Is SOC very much relevant to the public, general public, or the investors, or the service receiver? So SOC is what? SOC is, for example, say there is any IT MNC or say any service provider. Okay, be it a payroll service provider or a financial service provider, right? So they have their own set of customers. Okay, now customer organization or the user entity organization, they also need to have reliance for the services that they are receiving, right? That whether there are internal controls in place for the service provider organization. So for that only, the service provider will get SOC audited. And who will do that? It's a CPA registered firm. It will be a Big Four firm, right? So any service provider who is providing services to the service receiver, they have to issue a SOC report, right? So SOC is basically of 3 types. That is SOC 1, SOC 2, and SOC 3. So SOC 1 is what? SOC 1 is any financials. For example, say your organization has outsourced the payroll service, say to ADP. They have outsourced. So ADP is accountable for processing your payrolls, okay, to the authorized employees and everything. Now, for example, say I am TCS, right? Now, I, being an organization, how will I have a comfort? How will I have a comfort over what are the controls that are in place? So there are 2 ways. Either I can appoint my own auditors and they can do an audit. Okay. And organizations will have more comfort. The level of comfort will be more if there is an independent third-party attestation. So independent third-party attestation, who does that? It is the Big Four firm. They do that. Okay. So SOC 1 is basically focusing on the services which impacts your financials directly, which has a direct impact on your financial reporting. Okay, so just like the example, if you are outsourcing your payroll service, if you are outsourcing, say any of the financial line items, say your goodwill evaluation or goodwill valuation, that is not done by the corporate finance team. There is a separate valuation team, separate valuation firm. They are doing that, right? So then they will require a SOC report, SOC 1 report. just to have a comfort that whether the internal controls that are in play, whether the internal controls are in place for the services that are provided by the service provider. Okay, so what is SOC 2? Any idea what is SOC 2?
Deals with security related security, availability, and confidentiality.
Yes, so there are 5 trust principles. Now SOC 2 focuses on, think of any IT MNCs or IT infra support organizations. What they do, you have outsourced, say you are a user entity organization, you have outsourced your entire IT infrastructure services to, say, the IT giants, say Capgemini or say Accenture. They are providing the IT infra from network to basic IT infra support such as network support, okay, or application support, OS support, database support. Now I being a service user, you being a user entity organization, how will you have a comfort? We will require an audit report, right, to have a comfort that yes, all the controls that are in place for the services that is getting provided by the IT MNC that are operating effectively and designed effectively. Then they need to provide you a SOC 2 report. Why SOC 2 report? Because it is not directly impacting your financials. It is dealing with the 5 trust principles. What are the 5 trust principles? CIA and security and privacy. CIA is what? Confidentiality, processing integrity, availability, security, and privacy. These are the 5 trust principles. So any organization or any organization which are not providing financial services, which are providing providing services, okay, to say, it happens mostly in case of, say, software as a service, or a cloud service provider, or a IT infra support service provider, or an application support service provider. Okay, so then we need to ensure that all the controls that are in place that should align with the 5 trust principles. Then they will issue a SOC 2 report. And SOC 3 report is the exact replica of SOC 2 report. But the target audience is the general public. So in case of SOC 1, okay, the target audience is who? It is the user organization and their auditors. Why? Why the user organization and their auditors also require a SOC 1 audit report? Why the auditor will require a say X organization, right? So there is a statutory auditor, say PwC is doing the SOX audit, right? But they will require the SOC 1 audit report. It will also be scoped into their audit scoping. Why?
As a part of vendor risk assessment, they require it as their services which are receiving from the service organization, such services may impact their financial reporting. I mean, the user entity's financial reporting. That's why they require the SOC 1 report only for auditor and only for user entity. Here, there is nowhere any, what I can say, no business with other stakeholders, like, I mean, the public.
Correct.
Right.
Correct. So it is a second party audit. It is basically,
Yes.
it is a second party audit. Second party audit is what? If any one of you are aware with the ISO, okay, 27001, so there are 3 concepts: first party audit, second party audit, and third party audit. So second party audit is the audit which is done at the interest of the customers. It is done and the accessibility of the report is only to the customers. You got it? So here, SOC 1 audit report, as we mentioned, it is directly impacting your financials. That's why any big 4 firm who is doing a SOX audit, it will be scoped. For example, I have outsourced my payroll service provider, or I have outsourced my goodwill valuation or asset valuation. Okay, because these are all line items which come into your balance sheet. So these are directly impacting your financial statements, right? So therefore, all the SOC 1 audit report will automatically come under the scope of SOX audit. They will require it. Otherwise, how will they conclude? So SOC 2 report is what? SOC 2 report is basically the target audience is your customers and business partners. Okay, so SOC 2 audit reports is, though the external auditor may ask for a SOC 2 audit report, but if somebody is doing a SOX audit, SOC 2 is not inevitable. SOC 2 audit report is not inevitable because it is not scope, because it is not directly impacting your financials. Okay, so team, do you understand what is the difference between SOX and SOC? What is a SOX? What is SOX audit and what is SOC? Any idea which comes to your mind? Yes, yes, friends, you're totally silent. Any inputs? Let's make it interactive. Am I audible?
The SOX multiple organizations.
No, the SOX audit is very simple. The applicability is the companies which were listed only in US stock exchange. Being a compliance, they have to demonstrate the internal controls are in place which are impacting the financial reporting, right?
Correct.
So,
Absolutely.
when it comes to the SOC one, the SOC one is not a mandatory compliance. In fact, it's not a compliance.
It's a reporting
So,
requirement.
it's
It
a
is not a
reporting
compliance.
requirement where the user entity requires the service organization to demonstrate their internal controls, which are providing the services to the user entity. They are
Correct.
appropriate, designed, and also working effectively. That is
Correct.
the
So
objective
SOX,
here for SOC 1.
correct. So all the SOC reports, okay, service organization control reports. So all the SOC reports are what? SOC reports are basically, it's a reporting requirement. It's a reporting requirement at the interest of your customers or the user entity organization. SOX is a compliance for all the
Basically, you are
companies.
showing your trust. Basically, you are proving your trust that I am trustworthy to your customers everywhere, and that
Correct.
I am credible. Credible.
Correct. It ensures your creditworthiness. It ensures your credibility. Okay. Okay, so this is the basic difference between SOC 1, SOC 2, SOC 3, type 1 versus type 2 audit reports. Okay, so as we mentioned, SOC 1 audit report is basically for, those service organizations which are providing services that are directly impacting your financials. And SOC 2 and SOC 3, those are related to the services which is not directly impacting your financials, but they are aligning with the 5 trust principles. 5 trust principles is security, availability, CIA, that is confidentiality, integrity, availability, and security and privacy. Okay, so it is basically applicable. SOC 2 audit reports are basically applicable in case of your cloud service provider or IT infra support or application support or OS or DB support. Okay, but see, for a cloud service provider or a application support, is it directly impacting your financials? No, it is not directly impacting your financials. Are there any quants? There are no quants. It is not directly impacting your quants. Okay, so
I have a question here.
Sure,
I have a
sure.
question.
Please go ahead.
See,
Please
basically,
go ahead.
what happens? See, a lot of organizations will say I am ISO compliant, and some will say I am SOC compliant. Now, I just want your thoughts on that. See, in terms of popularity, in terms of credibility, in terms of building trust, which, in your opinion, is a better one of the two? Because there is a divergence between the two. A lot of people, they said I am ISO certified. Some said I am SOC 2 certified. So this is my open question to you.
Thanks for asking that
Speak.
question, Tapas. I have been waiting to ask that. Okay.
Thank you, dear. Thank you, dear.
Yeah.
Thank you for putting up that question. So see, you have to understand ISO 27001 is particularly focusing on the information security management system, right? It is it comes under a third party audit. So it is an independent certification by a certified body. It will come under your governance. That is enterprise governance. And SOC 2, if you see the intended audience, right? The intended audience is your, what I will say, it is your customers. It will come under the second party audit. So it provides credibility to your customers. But ISO 27000 is it provides credibility to your customers, to your investors, to everyone. It is not directly targeting. It is not only providing credibility to your to your customers only, but it is focusing only on the ISMS. That is the Information Security Management System. Only those controls it is coming into picture, right? But in SOC 2, apart from the 5 trust principles, right? Your governance, your privacy, say all your respective services, everything will come. But it is providing, it is intended to provide credibility only to your customers. So customers will require that. But ISO 27001, it will come under your enterprise governance. So in terms of credibility, if you talk in terms of credibility, the credibility is more for a ISO 27001. But again, the scoping is only related to ISMS. The scoping is only related to the information security management systems. So it is a third party certificate.
ELCs.
It is definitely covering ELC, but obviously, it is what I will say. It is covering under the annexure A controls, right?
Yes,
that is 93
yes.
controls. It is coming. There is a baseline, right? It will come.
Yes.
Correct. But SOC 2 report is only with respect to the services that is to a particular customer. Right. So customer perspective, it will be different. So I may have 1,000 of customers, right? So my SOC 2 report will not be same or will not be consistent for all the customers. It may differ. It depends on the statement of work, right? What is the scope of services that I am providing? So it is ensuring it is only providing trustworthiness to a particular customer. And ISO 27001, it is coming at an enterprise level. All the things are coming, and it is an independent certified body attestation. It is a third party audit.
Right.
So which one is more credible? Which one is more what I will say? Which one has more value? A third party audit or second party audit? Any independent certified body who is
third party.
Correct.
Third
And
party.
it is
Yeah.
third party has an independent, and it is not service specific. It is at an entire enterprise governance level. So it will have more credibility. And here the intended ISO 27001 certification has more exposure to everyone, not only to the customers. It can be to the investors, it can be to the customers, it can be to the business partners, it can be to the financial institutions who are providing loans. Everyone, right?
Okay.
So I think that both SOC 2 and both ISO 27001 are related to different verticals. So it cannot be like that you are providing a service to any service organization and you are saying that I am already ISO compliant, so I don't need to provide a SOC 2 report. It can't happen like that.
That means you mean to say, as the SOC
You have to provide
report deals with user specific, so
Correct.
it requires to go for a SOC 2 report also as well, even though they have ISO 27001.
Yes,
right?
absolutely. Because Ashok, you work in ITC, so is there any chance that your organization is also providing services to the customers? Now,
Yes.
is your customer only comfortable with the ISO 27001? They are comfortable. They can say that you don't have to issue a SOC 2 report. Does it happen?
Makes
ISO
sense,
is different.
but
You have to make ISO. It is a
makes
requirement.
sense.
It is a requirement by the certification body. It is a requirement by the certification body. And this is a reporting requirement for in case you are a service provider. At the interest of whom? At the interest of the customers. And this is at the interest of This is a requirement at the interest of independent certification, right? So
Yes.
you can it is a compliance requirement. ISO 27001 is what? It is not a reporting requirement. You have to be ISO 27001 certified. What does that mean? It comes under compliance, right?
Yes.
Yes,
Because
yes.
the organization itself, it is getting certified that the ISMS is in place as per IS 427,001.
Correct. It will come under your enterprise governance. It will
But
come under
Sauraj,
your
as you
enterprise.
know, it has been a confusion for all the auditors still now. The thing is that the CIA is available with SOC 2 and also ISMS. It deals with CIA.
Correct.
That's the reason the confusion in place.
But the controls will be different, right? Because
Obviously.
any service provider, controls, SOC 2 controls will be different with respect to the services that will come under your statement of work.
Yes.
At a different customer level. So I may have thousands of customers,
Yes.
but my control SOC 2 report will be different for each and every customer.
Yes.
Because it depends on the scope of services which I am providing. But ISO is not different. ISO is unique. ISO is an enterprise governance. It is a compliance requirement.
And a whole for
As a
the
whole.
service organization.
Correct. And no service, and you will see that many SOC user entity organization, okay, there are controls in place under SOC 2 that that whether this organization is ISO 27001 compliant or not. There is a separate control in place. It will come. But does that mean only that control is coming? It will de-scope all the other controls for the services? No, not at all. It has to come as a part of your enterprise governance or entity level controls.
Okay.
So it is a myth that if some organization says that I am ISO compliant, I don't need SOC 2. That should be countered and said that both are serve different purposes. So your statement is factually incorrect.
Correct. And no organization can, no service receiver or the user entity organization can't say this. That is also a myth. They can't say that, okay, you are ISO 27001 compliant. Okay, I will take reliance. I will not, I don't require a SOC report. That is also a myth. They can't say, because I am just giving you a practical example. So there are two types of clauses, right? When you enter into a MSA, that is right to audit clause, right to assess compliance. Correct. Right to audit clause is what? I, as a user entity organization, I have the direct right to audit all the controls that are in place for the services that I am receiving. As in addition, I can also ask for the SOC report. So there are two. So it happens, right? They do a direct. Sometimes they send their own internal auditor to check that whether everything is going fine or not, as well as they will require a SOC report. And right to assess compliance is in addition to the above. They may ask for the certifications. For example, you are ISO 27001 compliant, you are ISO 9001 compliant or not. They may ask for the certifications. That is in addition. But it doesn't mean that only those certifications will de-scope all these other, requirements. It never happens, right? It never happens like that. Did I answer your question, Tapasda?
Yes. In fact, I am also sharing my personal same thing which we did when we went. And some organization, they gave that factually incorrect statement that we have an ISO, we don't need. So we used to counter them on that basis. So I just wanted to recheck.
Correct. Absolutely.
Yeah,
because ISO is different. Yeah, please go ahead.
I say yes, exactly. So they took shelter under ISO and said, no, SOC is not required for us. So we just corrected their myth.
Correct. Okay, so let's go into the next one, that is type 1 report and type 2 report. Okay, so it is already there in the slide, but I would request, apart from Tapasda and Ashok, anyone to speak out. What is a type 1 report and what is a type 2 report? Friends, please share your inputs. Let's make it
Type 1
interactive.
is- Yeah, type 1 is mainly on the design of the controls. And I mean, again, it is differ organization to organization whether they want to go ahead with designing, let's say, confidentiality or integrity, which is important for them, and availability maybe little bit lower side. So they will design those controls based on the scope. And type 2 is mainly on the audit and make sure whether the design control are properly implemented and effective.
Okay. So
So
you
it
rightly
is to
said that.
check the effectiveness. Yeah.
Correct. So type 1 is
Simply said,
basically. Yeah, please go ahead.
hello.
Please go ahead.
Yeah,
Yeah, please go ahead.
simply says that type 1 is whether the controls are properly designed or not, we need to cross check. And then type 2 report, which is related to deals with the controls that are working properly, designed properly or not, but also working effectively over the period of time.
Correct.
Like,
So type 1 is basically as on a particular date, you check that whether the controls have been deemed to be designed effectively or not. And type 2 audit report is, it will scope both your design effectiveness and your operating effectiveness for a particular period. Now you, as an organization, okay, service receiver organization, think logically, which of the report will provide you greater assurance? Is it the type 1 report or is it the type 2 report? Think you are a user entity organization. So which of the report will provide you a greater assurance? What you will ask? What kind of report you will ask your service provider to share with you?
type 2
Mainly
report.
to type 2, yeah.
Correct. Why? Because in a type 2 report, it is covering
Both.
both. Correct. Both your design effectiveness as well as operating effectiveness. And in most of the organizations, I'm just sharing. So what happens? It is generally for 1 year. Sometimes it is for 9 months. Okay, it doesn't cover it covers the entire year. It covers only 9 months, a period of 9 months. And for the rest of the period, okay, so the organization has to issue a bridge letter. So we'll come to that. Okay, in our next slide. Okay, now coming to the 5 trust principles as we discussed. Okay, that is the CIA and privacy and security. Now, I would request each one of you to give one example for each of the principles. So for security, for example, say there is an application which is getting onboarded in your organization. Okay, you are an independent risk assurance professional. You have been asked to align with the security principles for the application. Align controls for with the security principles for the application that is getting onboarded. Now, what will come on to your mind when we talk about application security? What will be the controls that will come into your mind?
User access to that particular application is granted or
Correct.
not, and
Correct.
also we can also add against this one multi-factor authentication, MFA.
Correct.
Enable
Absolutely.
for the critical systems, and user access review conducted. Periodically, we will conduct the user access review once in a 6 months or once in a financial year, 1 year kind of thing. And
Correct.
And also I can say that RBAC, role-based access.
Role-based access control. That is the privilege access review.
Privileged access. Yes.
So there are various names. One is RBAC, or you can RBAC attestation, or privilege access review, or secondary account attestation. Okay, rightly said. Okay, now
But
you have
I want
mentioned.
to add one thing.
Yeah.
Thing. The
Sure.
ultimate goal should be DID, defense in depth.
Yes, absolutely. So Defense in depth, let me share one example. What is defense in depth? As you rightly mentioned, right, they are for making an application secure. From the audit, from the risk and compliance perspective, there should be a user access provisioning as well as user access deprovisioning. Okay, and a user access review. Right. Now, user access provisioning is what? It is what kind of control? Is it a preventive control or a detective control? Suppose there is a ticketing tool, you are raising the user request, and the user access request is going through the authorized approver. The authorized approver is reviewing, then he is providing approval. Post approval, the access is getting granted by the user access governance team. Now, what is the type of the control? Is it a preventive control or a detective control?
Preventive control.
Why it is a preventive control? Why it is a preventive control? You have rightly mentioned,
Because
but
all the approvals,
yes, please. Yeah, please go ahead.
yeah,
It
we'll
prevents
be
privilege
getting all
free.
the approvals before the access has been provisioning. So we're preventing the kind of risk provide. So that's why we're getting the approval. So setting up this access. That's not preventing people.
Correct, because the instance has not happened. Before the instance, before any unauthorized
Yes.
person can access to the application, right? There is a review and a approval mechanism in place. That's why it's a preventive control.
Yeah,
And
only right people can have access to the particular systems or right.
yes,
at a particular,
correct. And the user access review, right? Was in a user access review. So suppose there is a dedicated identity and access management tool, and the user access governance team member is initiating the user access review request to the respective line managers. They are doing the reviews. They're providing their review comments that whether all their reportees who have access, whether it is appropriate or not. In case there are any inappropriate access, they are providing review comment to deprovision the request, within the defined timelines. Now, what is that type of control? Is it a preventive control or a detective control? So user access review is what kind of a control? Is it a preventive or a detective control? Team, need your
it
inputs.
is detective control.
Yes, why it is a detective control?
If user access review at the time of reviewing the access, whether the user required the particular access or not. If the user not required access means we need to deactivate the access to that particular user.
Because the
So we
instance
are-
has already happened. The user access has been already granted. It is already
granted.
happened, right?
It is not. Yeah, it is not required for the user access review. Means the name itself specified that whether user is having that access going forward or not. If the user doesn't require the access, means the particular line manager only remove the or deprovision the access to the user. So it means that the line manager is going to be review all the line by line users, whether the user related roles or whether the user related respective access what are the access are there, whether they want to continue or not. If they are digging into the each and every user, they are checking each and every user related access. If they require, they are supposed to approve. If they are not required, they are supposed to remove that one. So they are detecting each and every user related access. So that's why it comes under the detective control. Correct me if I'm wrong.
Yes, correct. You are
As per
absolutely
the
correct.
principle of least privilege. Principle of least privilege.
Correct. So now you say me that out of this preventive and the detective controls that we discussed, which one is the most stronger control?
Prevention is always better than cure.
Correct. So a preventive control is more stronger control. But if my organization only have this user access provisioning part, that is, what I will say, before provisioning of the user access request, it is getting reviewed and approved, and post review and approval, the user access is getting granted. If my organization only have this preventive control in place, is the control structure or is the control framework complete? What is your opinion on that? What is your
I
opinion
think,
on that?
no, it is not in place. We need both preventive and reactive control. Why? Because in case that particular user may change the role and move into different team and they might not be able to access for that time, it has to run it in the table.
Correct. So, for example, say in a user access provisioning, it might happen because I am the line manager, I am reviewing the access, but I can do a wrong review. It may happen.
Yes.
I can do a wrong type of review and I can provide approval to somebody who is not supposed to, get that access. But as a defensive mechanism, if I am putting that user access review in place, correct, it will get detected there. If suppose I as a line manager, I have put an approval for an inappropriate person and the access has been granted to that person. Okay, it is a miss from my end. I have done it. But if I am putting a user access review control on a quarterly basis or say on a half-yearly basis, the chance of the miss out, it will get cured or it will get tracked in my user access review control. So user access review control is what? It is a second line of defense, you can say, or it is a defensive control for the preventive control. So this is basically called the defense in depth strategy, as Tapashankar told. It is so always who are control assurance professionals or who are risk and compliance professionals, we always suggest that a combination of preventive and the detective control will make the control framework more strong and more effective.
Can I add one more thing? I just remember a simple example. Like if in your house, if you have a very sturdy front door, but you don't have any smoke detectors. So what happens then? You have a very sturdy front door, but no smoke detectors. So what happens? Basically, if one is breached, first line of defense is breached, then you are in oblivion. That is the main thing. So defense, as rightly pointed by you, and I said that defensive depth is a necessity. It's not an option.
Correct. A defensive depth strategy is a necessity. Because if there is no defensive controls in place, what what will be the consequence if there are any miss out or if suppose there are any gaps in the preventive control? So both preventive and detective controls must be in place to make the control framework complete. And another example is if you see in say I'm giving you an example for an external network and an internal network. Now, so in your organizational network, between your organizational network and between the external network, for preventing the malicious traffic, what is in place? What is kept in place? Who prevents what prevents the malicious traffic? Which component prevents the malicious traffic, or which tool? It is the firewall. Correct. Before you between your organizational network and your public network, it is the firewall who will prevent the malicious traffic. But suppose your malicious traffic it bypasses the firewall. Suppose it bypasses the firewall and there is no second line of defense in place. Then what you will do? But if suppose there is a IDS in place, IDS is what? The intrusive detective system, intrusion detection system. So if suppose your malicious traffic is bypassing the firewall, but it is getting detected by the IDS is playing the second line of defense. So again, it is a combination of preventive, because firewall itself is a preventive control. It works on the basis of the rules, and IDS that is a intrusion detective system. It will detect as per the rules that is set. Again, there is a combination of preventive and detective control. If anyone works in the network,
monitors the network traffic in real time for suspicious patterns.
Correct,
Sauraj.
correct,
Yeah, which
absolutely.
stays behind the firewall.
Correct.
Yeah.
So it is both the ways, Ashok. So it
Yeah.
can be behind the firewall, it can be after the firewall as well. So it
Okay.
depends on the organization discretion.
Mm.
It is in the organization discretion. So
Yeah.
if it is behind the, so what happens now? So in most of the organization, there is a public network and an organizational network. So first they will
Yeah.
place the IDS, then a firewall. Okay. Then suppose if their first firewall is failing, there is a redundant firewall. There is another redundant firewall. And again, there is behind that, there is IDS
Mm.
to make the network more stronger.
Yes. Yes. Makes sense.
Okay. Now let's go to the availability principle. Okay, friends. Now, with respect to the application onboarding example, which I mentioned previously, now think yourself as a GRC professional. Now, what type of controls would you align or would you promote to your organization? Okay, in order to ensure availability. What is availability? Availability means what? Your application should be available to the users. Now, what kind of controls you will propose to promote availability principle? Say you are a GRC professional. Yes, I require your inputs. Yes, team. Please share your inputs. I don't know anything regarding this, but I require your inputs. Give a try. Anything is fine. Give a try.
Backups and recovery in case of
Yes.
any disaster.
Correct. Correct. So what backup ensures? What backup control ensures?
It ensures like if there is any such incident, then the application will be recovered.
No, backup controls ensures your data backup, right? Application, see, an application is important to me. What in the application is important to the organization? What? Only the application or the data in the application? What is important?
Data.
The application itself or the data in the application is important. So backup control ensures that your data, okay, data becomes available. For example, if your application
Hot
is shut
side,
down.
warm side, cold side.
Yes,
Hot
warm
side,
side,
warm
cold
side, cold side.
Yes, correct. Hot side, warm side, cold side. But here, suppose your application, suppose there is your application is getting onboarded, right? Now, now suppose the application has been down, right? But it is a payroll application, and the payroll team needs access to that application in order to process the payroll data, because you are you are almost nearing to the paycheck date, say 31st, and your payroll application has been down, but your payroll application team needs access to that application. Now in that case, what will be the control for availability? What will be the control for your availability? Without access to that application, you will not be able to process your payroll data.
Disaster recovery and business continuity.
No, don't go into all those specifics. Just think logically. Suppose I am using a payroll application. My payroll application is becoming down. Okay, but my payroll team needs to access. So see, any application or any database, right? It needs to be hosted somewhere.
Yes.
It needs
correct.
to be hosted somewhere, either
Mhm.
in a virtual server or a physical server. Correct.
Yes.
Now
Cloud
suppose
backup,
if your
cloud,
or in cloud. Yes, or in your cloud. Okay.
Yes.
Now suppose your application is getting hosted in a virtual server. Okay, in a virtual server, and say that particular server, the example is because of that particular server receiving, it has exceeded the threshold and the server has been down, so the application is also down. Yeah, the payroll team has no access to the application. Now, does that mean you will not be able to, access the payroll application? Organization has to think of alternative strategies, right? So there is a
Saurabh,
term
I
called
guess load
virtual.
balancers are required
Correct,
in
correct,
this
correct. So that
scenario.
also,
Load
correct,
balancers.
correct. So correct. So that will also come under your availability, right? It is a
Exactly.
control, right? It is a
Yes.
technical control. Correct.
Yes.
So
Yes.
load balancing means
Yes.
what? So for example, virtual scaling means suppose your server is already, I'm already full up. I'm already full. So there should be another redundant server where my application will automatically get hosted. That is also a technical configuration. So that is what? That is ensuring your availability principle. That is making your application what? That is making your application available to the users. Correct. That is that will come under your availability principle. Correct me if I am wrong, or if you have any other inputs or other viewpoints.
No, you're
No,
right.
you are right.
No, absolutely correct.
You're talking about the auto scaling, which will be enabled by load
Correct,
balancers.
correct,
It dynamically adjusts the computing resources based on the real-time traffic.
Correct. So there are threshold mechanism in place. For example, say any application. Okay, so how the organization nowadays, most of the organization will use your virtual servers, right? So applications will be, the mechanism will be built in such a way. So for example, if one of my server is down, it is already exceeded my threshold, it will automatically, my application will get, moved on to another virtual server will get added. It will move so that my application gets available. It is available to the users. The processing is not impacted. So that is also ensuring my availability principle. And as you mentioned, your data backups, and that will also come under your availability, because you are making the data available, right? Your DR drills, your data restorations. What is that? That is basically that is ensuring your availability controls.
Yeah. As a part of
Okay.
recommendation, as a part of the best practice, you should actually do a dry run of your payroll disaster
Correct.
recovery plan at least once a year.
Correct. It should be there. It should be there. So it is again, it is not only for the payroll application. It is for, again, there is a scoping, right? It depends on the materiality. So all the materiality stuffs which are important data and everything, DR drill is taken care for all those applications which are material, where the data is more sensitive. Correct. Whether the data is restored, whether the data restoration success rate is fine or not, and it is shared with the stakeholders. So it is ensuring your availability principle. Now regarding your processing integrity. Now what processing integrity will ensure? Say from application onboarding example, right? What we discussed at the very first, that your application, suppose a new application is getting onboarded in your organization. Now you are a GRC professional. Now what type of controls you will propose to ensure your processing integrity principle? What type of control you will propose? What is processing integrity? Integrity means what? Your data is integral. Your data is not tampered. That is integrity, right? Your data is not changed. Now, how would I make sure that my data in the application, suppose my application is fetching data from some third-party server, or from some source, say source X, it is fetching data. How would I ensure that all the data that is getting fetched into the final application, it is ensuring processing integrity? What type of controls I will implement, or what type of controls I will propose? Yes, friends. Please give your inputs. Anything which comes to your mind, anything. I'll be happy to take it up from there. Anything. Suppose your application is fetching data from another source. Okay. Now, how do you ensure, or what type of controls you will propose to check that whether the data, the data is integral, there is no changes in the data, or data has not been tampered? Nothing is coming to your mind.
Access controls, you want to specifically related to access control, or like hypothetically, we say access controls,
No,
change management.
Hashing and digital signatures. Hashing and digital signatures.
Correct. Hashing and digital signatures ensures your integrity. That is absolutely correct. But in this case, think it very simply. I am just, my data is getting fetched from another source. It is the simple
Storage,
input
input,
validation controls.
output, and processing
Correct.
controls.
Correct,
The
correct,
three
correct. It
controls.
is very simple. It is very simple. Input validation checks. So there will be a header count, there will be a tailor count, there will be a hash total check, there will be a control total check. So these are all technical controls which are already implemented. And they will throw you a abandoned message or a error message in case any of these checks are failing. Why? Because if I implement this kind of technical controls, the level of assurance will be much more, rather than me as an auditor. I am just extracting the raw report and the final report, and I am doing a manual check or a manual reconciliation. That will give a lower level of assurance than any other input validation technical controls which are configured already, which are automatically doing your tailor count check, header count check, control totals check, or hash total check. So this will ensure your integrity, processing integrity. Very simple.
Yes.
Any
And Chandra,
reconciliation
as you
control.
said, the access
Yeah.
controls also will come into picture, but we will check them in context of whether these guys have the access rights to change the configurations.
Correct. It will come. Definitely it will come. Access control will come, and also your change management controls will also come.
Yeah, of course.
It will come, but it will come into picture. But first thing regarding processing
Obviously, they are
integrity will
secondary,
be
Sauraj, as you said. They are secondary.
Correct. So first thing will be, what is I have to make sure that my controls are that my output is not changing. So that is the primary. Secondary will be obviously whatever you mentioned, that is reconciliation. Simple reconciliation control also ensures. So if any one of you have gone through that CISA course curriculum, there is a cyber attack that is a simple manual thing that is called data diddling. Tapasda and Ashok, I presume that you have gone through this term, data diddling. That is a risk. Ashok. Hello. Am I audible, team?
Yes,
Yes,
Sauraj,
yes.
you are audible.
Yeah. So there is a term called data diddling. That is a risk. Correct. So
Yeah,
what is
obviously,
data?
obviously,
Yes.
it's a risk.
Yes. So what is data diddling? Data diddling is basically your unauthorized alteration of the data. It is done manually.
Obviously. Yeah,
It
illicitly
is
altering during the input of data.
correct. So what controls will put in place to ensure processing integrity? A review, secondary review. So it happens in bank. Somebody is doing any sort of what I will say simple paycheck. He's preparing a paycheck or something. Okay, or suppose invoice. Just think it very simply. Suppose any P2P team member is preparing an invoice. Okay, and he is directly sending it to the vendor. So he can directly send it to the vendor. There will be a secondary review, right? There will be a
Yes,
secondary review in place. Why? The secondary review is to ensure the processing integrity, that whatever data or whatever invoice he has built, that invoice has been tampered or that invoice is as per the expectation or not. Simple thing. So that is processing integrity. Okay. Now let's come to the next one, that is confidentiality. So confidentiality was my data will be confidential. My confidential means I being an authorized reader, I will only be able to read the data. Nobody else will be able to access the data. Okay. Now here, as it is mentioned, encryption, data masking, role-based access. Now when you are checking this encryption level control, what evidence you will seek or what you will check for this, whether encryption is there or not? From the GRC perspective, okay, you are building the encryption level controls. Now you give me inputs that how to test that control, or what will you check while testing the evidence of that control for encryption level. Yes, friends. Whatever
Like
comes to your mind.
data in transit and will not be
Whether
changed.
we need to cross check the SSL or some certificates. We need to cross check the TLS certificates. HTTPS is enabled or not, and also system configuration screenshots which are related to TD is
Correct.
enabled or not.
Correct. Now, when you are checking that it is enabled or not, how do you conclude that yes, if it is enabled? Now, how do you conclude that it is correct or not? How to conclude on the control? What we will require? What is the source thing that you will require? For example, you have connected with the admin, okay, and they have shown you the IT admin, and they have shown you the encryption settings. Say AES 256 or AES 128 is enabled. Okay.
Yeah, we need to know about the system details, system name, and
no.
Daroj, is it configuration screenshots?
No, that is what I am asking. Is it the only configuration screenshot that you will check for the encryption level control?
Of course, I do check the MDM reports too.
No.
Whether the mobile device management report showing that, the full disk encryption is enforced on all company laptops. So for that purpose, I do check the MDM reports also.
No, that is fine. But here I am just talking at an application level. Say at an application, the application is getting onboarded, and you have checked that the encryption settings are enabled. But on that basis only, you will conclude on the control.
Yes, right.
So suppose the IT admin team has shown you that this is the encryption level settings at the application. They have shown you the configuration. So you will conclude the control. Yes, the control is operating effectively.
logs, we will check the logs as well. Correct me if I'm wrong.
No, Chandra, Sauraj is saying at the time of onboarding, he says.
Okay.
Even I missed the context. The context is that here we are onboarding an application.
So you have onboarded an application, and you have from the say you are an auditor, okay? You have checked, you connected with the IT admin team, and from the backend they have shown that the encryption settings are enabled. They have shown you. Just on the basis of that observation and inquiry, will you pass the control, or what you will ask? Guys, it's very simple. It's a policy. Anything. There should be an administrative policy in place. EKMS policy. You should ask for the EKMS policy. Encryption Enterprise Key Management System policy. Whatever configuration they show you, don't, from the audit perspective, always ask for the process document. Where is the process document in place? Where is the SOP in place? Then only you will be able to ensure the compliance, right? Similarly, for configuration, there are SDDs. SDDs are what? Standard design document. So organizations maintain a low-level standard design document or a high-level standard design document. But you need those standard design documents to ensure that yes, the expectation is already implemented there. Somebody is simply saying that, see here, this is here, it is already configured. You will just go. You will just place a comfort only on the conversation and only on the configuration. How do you ensure that whether the configuration that is there, that is appropriate or not? For checking the appropriateness, they should prepare a process document, approved process document, or approved SDD in place. If it is not there, you just ask. If you're a GRC professional, you ask them to prepare that. How do then ensure the compliance? Compliance is what? Whether it is complying with the expectation or not. That is compliance, right? That is compliance. So you will ask for the enterprise key management. You will ask for the enterprise key management system, SOPs. So that's why we propose that SOP should always be there for any process or a process document. Similarly, for a user access provisioning, somebody is showing you that yes, there is the tool in place, but where is the process document, boss? Where is the SOP? You have to create a SOP.
First thing you should take. That's the first thing you should take when you go for an audit. Because see, whatever my practical example, even I was checking the official software to be used. So that document, they had an official SOP, but we found out during the course that many of them were using software which are not there in the official list. So we could only find out if there is a base document. So the base document is the process SOPs.
So it is the baseline. Okay. So always whenever you are checking these controls, right, you should always, so what is the exact process? First you ask for the SOPs. First you scope out what are your audit processes that you are going to audit. Okay. Then you ask for the SOPs. You try to filter out the exact, portion. Read the SOP. Okay. Just have an understanding. Then set a walkthrough. So people do what? They first set a walkthrough and then they read the SOP. No, that is not the correct approach. First you read the SOP, try to find out the gray areas. Then you set a walkthrough with the process owners so that you can visualize, or you can exactly match whatever you have read and whatever the process owner is saying, it is in line or not. Then you can match it, right? Otherwise, how would you map it? So it is recommended. As a best practice, it is always recommended. First, you ask for the SOPs, you read the SOP, and then you go for a process walkthrough. Then you prepare the process narrative. So process narrative is what? It is the deliverable of the auditor. It is the walkthrough documentation. It is not a, it is the key pointers which will be required for testing of your control. You got it?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes, sir. Yes.
Okay.
What are the different controls we need to check, let's say, about encryption itself here? And how we can get those evidences?
Okay. See, I'm going in depth. So, for example, the encryption level controls, first thing will be, there will be a key management, SOP in place, enterprise key management system. You ask for the SOP. Okay. Then try to understand that how so like application lifecycle management, there is also key lifecycle management. I hope you are aware. Key lifecycle management is what? Key lifecycle management is creation of the keys, rotation of the keys, and destruction of the keys. Now it should go through a ticketing tool. Okay. Now try to understand what is the exact tool in place for creation of these keys. What is the tool that organization is using? Okay. That you need to understand. Now, whenever an application is getting onboarded and the keys needs to be created for that application, the encryption keys, right? It has to go through a ITSM process. The application owner has to raise a request. right? For the creation of the keys, it should get approved by business, and then only it should get created. Similarly, for offboarding also, whenever an application is getting offboarded, the keys needs to be destroyed. Okay, so try to understand what is the ITSM process. Whether the organization is following that ITSM process or not. Whenever an application is getting onboarded, whether this process is getting followed or not, and whether there are keys review in place or not. For example, for a particular month, what are the keys that has been created? What are the keys that has been destroyed? What are the keys that has been rotated? There is also a review in place for an application level. So just try to dig out that process. What is the process in place? And then you just check that the keys that needs to be created, okay, whether that has been created or not from the system screenshot. That you check. First is whether it has followed the process, whether there is a RITM request that has been raised for that particular instance or not. Then you check whether the key that was actually approved, that is created or not. Check for that particular application or not. Okay, and whether it is abiding by that SOP or not. You just need to check that. You got it?
Yeah.
Okay. Now, the fifth one, okay, that is the privacy. Now, in case of privacy, suppose somebody was mentioning about these logs. Okay, so you need to check the logs. Now, in case of logs, what are the controls from the GRC perspective which you can ensure or which we will propose to ensure privacy? Say, for example, change logs. Okay, in case of change logs, so there are, say, backup logs. Okay, now these are what? These are basically part of your detective controls, review of the logs. You ensure that what is the user activity, at what time it has been done. Suppose in case a backup is getting failed, whether proper incident has been raised for that backup or not. That's why you require the logs, right, at the back end. So it will ensure your traceability and accountability, your logs. Okay. Now the question is, for the logs mechanism, what controls will propose to ensure privacy? Yes, Tim. Think logically. For the log mechanism, what controls you will propose? Think privacy is what?
Pseudonymization. You pseudonymize the data.
Pseudonymize, that is also correct, but I don't want this answer. I am expecting a different kind of answer for privacy. Simple, Tapashankata, it's simple. It is the log retention thing. You always retain the logs, right? It is as per the policy, right? So as per the policy,
how long
the
you should
policy
store
is
the
built.
logs and retain them? Yeah, absolutely, as per SOP.
But no, as per SOP, but how the SOP is to be built for log retention? How, on what basis the SOP should be built? Retention period.
Partly on regulations, because there are regulations by SEBI and
not partly,
mandate
not partly, not partly,
certain.
Yes, but not partly. It is fully. It is the local data privacy rules. It is the local data privacy rules. Yes, correct.
Absolutely.
So logs are what? Logs should be retained and it should be destroyed. It should be retained and there should be a destruction in place, right? You can't store logs for the entire period. So
Not
for your
only
change
you
logs,
retain them, you should store them separately with proper access control, because logs are very confidential documents which everyone should not have access to, so that it might not get tampered.
Correct. But again, that will ensure your processing integrity and that will ensure your confidentiality principle, but not privacy. For the privacy part, we should take into consideration that whether logs are stored for a particular retention period, and that retention period is basically concluded on the basis of your local data privacy rules. Simple. For example,
Yes.
some of the local in Budapest, in my organization, I was working. The retention period in India is 6
Yes.
months, but in Budapest, for the same survey, for the same client, it is for 7 days. So how the logs are built? So it is generally stored for 7 days, and automatically it will get deleted. So that is also a technical control. Log review is a detective control. You are
Yes.
extracting the logs, you are reviewing the logs. That is a detective control. But logs are enabled. That is a technical control. Logs are enabled.
Yes.
Okay, logs are enabled. Logs get retained for that particular period, and it will get automatically destroyed after that particular period. Similarly, if you are using any Outlook email, you will see just at the bottom of your recipient section, there is a section called expiry by. Expiry by.
Yes.
So that is actually aligning with your privacy rules. Expire after 1 year, or expire after. Organization cannot build at its own discretion. So they have to take into picture what are the privacy rules in place. Then GDPR, then the local DPDP Act, everything will come into picture. So any compliance, first important thing will be your legal compliance.
Yes.
Then the rules will be set up. Okay, team. Let's go to the next part. Okay, CUECs, that is complementary user entity controls. Okay, yes. So complementary user entity controls. So team, any idea what is a complementary user entity control? What are the complementary user entity controls? For example, please go ahead. Sorry to interrupt. Please go ahead.
No problem. Controls that must be implemented by the user organization or the client to ensure all that controls at the service organization level work effectively or not. That is CUE.
Correct. So for example, say a payroll service provider. Okay. Now payroll service provider is ADP, and TCS has outsourced his entire payroll system to ADP. ADP is processing payrolls to the authorized employees. Okay. Now, whether the employees are authorized or not, who is accountable for ensuring that? Whose responsibility will be that? I being a service provider, I will pay to the authorized employees. Now, who will ensure that the authorized employee, that the employees are actually authorized or not? Whose accountability will be that?
That user organizations are
correct. So that is a CUEC.
Yeah.
That is a CUEC. Similarly, for example, say in case of the service provider organization, they are providing change management service. They are providing change management service for say 100 applications. The change management service. Now, the changes are authorized. Okay, or say the approval of the change authorization. Okay, and your post implementation review, these stuffs, or change authorization part, it will come under whose? It will come under whom? It will come under the user entity. Because unless and until the user entity is authorizing the changes, I can't process the change. It has to come from the user entity only.
Yeah, so always be top down. So person who is giving the authority, it should lie with it. Because if you allow the other person to have the change control, then it can prove to be very disastrous.
Correct. So if you have come across any SOC report, right? So there will be a section called user entity complementary controls, which the service provider is actually relying. They are actually relying on that user entity complementary controls. Okay. Now, to give you more insights on the same, as we discussed, okay. For example, the change management. So infrastructure changes impacting business operations must be reviewed, blackout periods or critical business. Okay. Who is responsible? So here basically the service organization maintains controls to unauthorized changes, but the user entity is actually responsible for reviewing and approving the changes. I, as a service organization, I am implementing the changes. Similarly, for a user access governance, okay, or I'm user access governance. Now, who is accountable for setting the user access provisioning policy or the SOPs? The process has to be designed from the user entity itself. I, being a service provider, I will be following that process. I will be abiding by that process. And who will be the appropriate user to that particular application or not, that will come under a complementary user entity control for that user entity. It is not my, I being a service organization, it is not my key scope of activity. Similarly, for incident management also. In incident management, who is accountable for designing the SLS? Or a problem management, who is accountable for designing the SLS? Who will conclude on the SLS? SLS with respect to the RCA, SLA with respect to the resolution. Who will decide on that? Team, you all are silent. Is it fine? Is
No.
everything going fine?
No, Sauraj, we are not silent.
Listening.
We are keeping some others to respond. Only we have been talking. Only four of us.
Yes, Ashok, you are right.
Yes, friends, please, for incident management and problem management. So who is deciding on the SLAs? Yes, friends, who will decide on the SLAs? For the resolution, for the RCS?
User
I am
entity.
yes. Why user entity? Obviously, I am the customer. I will decide, right? I am the client. I will decide that you have to resolve this incident within this timelines. For a high priority incident, it will be say within 2 days. For a low priority incident, it will be say within 8 to 9 days. I have the decision making power on that. And a service organization,
Even for the entire data security, user is responsible. Encrypting data before uploading or using secure translation.
yes, they are responsible for designing the policies. They will be responsible.
Yes, that's
But
what I mean.
if I am providing the support, if I am providing the support, for example, say about the EKMS, that is the service that I am providing. So they are
Yes.
accountable for the SOP. Okay,
Yes.
the SOP is getting reviewed on a yearly basis. In case there are any changes in the SOP, it will go through a change management process that will come under their CUEC. Okay, that
Yes.
will come under the CUC. But in case there is any encryption key that has to be created, okay, that is getting created, and whether it is getting created or not, that creation, that service, that is my accountability, service organization. And
Yes.
what I need to check the approval part. So my accountability is post approval, I will create that encryption key. But the approval, whether the approvers are authorized or not, those controls are not my cup of tea. That is their cup of tea. So that will come under the CUEC in the SOC 2 report, and those controls are for that user entity. Whether the approvers are authorized, okay, whether there are any change in the SOP, whether there are any change in the SLA, whether suppose in case of any termination of users, right, communicating that to the service provider, that is also their accountability. How would I know somebody is getting terminated if you are not notifying that? If there are no controls in place, how would I know? How can I deprovision the access? Think it logically, friends. Just think it logically. That's it. It is nothing rocket science. You just think it logically. Question yourself, and the answer will automatically come into your mind. Okay. Any question till now? Friends, any questions? I'm happy to take it up. Okay, I keep silence as I take silence as no.
Yeah, I have a couple of questions, Sauraj,
Please.
but I
Please go
put
ahead.
them at end of this session. Okay.
No, you can also
Which are-
discuss right now also. I don't have any
No, Sauraj, they are
problem.
not relevant to CUEC.
Okay.
So that's
Okay.
why I'll
With
put them
the-
end of this session.
Okay. That is fine.
Mm.
Okay, who are the key stakeholders in SOC 2 implementation? Okay, so first one is the executive leadership. Now, who will come under your executive leadership? Your C-suite level officers. C-suite level officers means your CEO, CFO, CIO, CTO, CISO. Okay, and why? How they are significant or how they are important? How they are important? They will provide the strategic direction. Obviously, the C-suite level officers, they provide the strategic direction, and who implements that strategic direction is the senior leadership. It is the senior leadership. So allocation of the budget, okay, providing strategic direction, that will come under your executive leadership responsibility or accountability. So SOC 2 implementation, okay, how the SOC 2 will be implemented, when it should be implemented, how it should be implemented. All the strategic direction, it will be provided by the C-suite level officer in consultation with your risk assurance or the GRC team. So GRC team will provide you the inputs, but the ultimate decision will be taken by the executive leadership. Now, where we will fit in.
I think the strategic role of the leadership is very important in this.
Correct.
Because they play a strategic role.
Correct. But they have the decision making power. Executive leadership, they have the decision making power, but in order to make them aware, or in order to help them to come to that strategic direction, the inputs will be provided by the risk and compliance team. They will provide the inputs, that how the controls should be designed, what are the controls will be in place, okay, in case there are new service onboarding, how aligning. So this exercise will be done by the risk and compliance team or the GRC team. This proposal, this consulting role or the consultative approach will be driven by the risk and compliance team. And based on this consultation provided, executive leadership will take the call. So what will be the role of the IT and the security teams? So they will implement the controls. They will implement the controls which have been proposed by the compliance and the risk management team or the GRC team. Okay, for example, your encryption settings. Who will implement this? It will be implemented by the IT team, the IT security team. Okay, again, for changes in the group policy, it will be done through your Active Directory. The group policy changes, so it will again go through the change management policy. I mean to say the change management process. Who will implement that? Who will do the technical part? Who will implement this tasks? It will be done by the IT and security team. And who are the process owner and the operations team? Process owners are whom? For example, say your change management. So there is a separate change management service owner. For problem management, there is a separate problem management service owner. Now, team, I have one question. The incident with respect to incident management and problem management. Now, when the ticket gets routed to a problem management team, what is the actual role of the problem management team? Are they working as a coordinator to get the problem resolved, or are they directly resolving the problem, technically resolving the problem? What is the actual role of incident management and the problem management team? Are they only facilitating in resolution of the incident or resolution of the problem, or they are directly resolving the incident or the problem? Any inputs? It just came to my mind. I just wanted to ask this in the open forum. Any inputs on this? What is the actual role of problem management and incident management team? Yes, Ashok, Tapasda, any inputs? Am I audible? All are silent.
Ensure the identify the root cause and then make sure that the issue never happen again, kind of thing.
Yes, that I understand. But are they coordinating in resolution of the incident? For example, suppose there is an incident with respect to the PKI servers. So suppose an incident has been raised, okay, by the customer. Okay, and it has gone routed to the incident management team. Now, is the incident management team facilitating the resolution of the incident? They are coordinating with the PKI team. They are understanding the root cause analysis. They are helping, coordinating to get the RCA document prepared and getting this issue resolved. Or are they directly pitching into that? Means, are they directly involved in resolving the incident?
No, they need to coordinate with the different teams, right?
Correct.
Collection of the information against what actually happened, and then they need to analyze the root cause as well. And
Correct. They need to ensure that the say if the incident has happened with respect to the backup or with respect to PKI, that the team is doing the root cause and they are preparing the root cause within the correct SLA timelines that is defined, and they are uploading that in the ticket, and whether the resolution has been done. They are technically not sound. The incident management team, they are not technically that they will resolve directly the incident. They will facilitate the process. You got it? They will facilitate the process, but they are not always. Sometimes it happens that there is a incident, and the resolution steps are already documented. Then they will provide the resolution steps to the user and get that resolved. But if it is a new incident with respect to the server, then they will coordinate. So the purpose of incident is what? There is non-recurrence of the incident. It never happens. Okay. So now external auditors, they are also one of the key stakeholders in SOC 2 implementation. Now, why they are the key stakeholders in SOC 2 implementation? Why? Because they are providing an independent attestation. Correct. And customers will already rely on the third-party attestation. They will, suppose if I, as a service organization, I am providing my internal audit report, will they place a comfort on my internal audit report? Or will anybody place a comfort on my internal audit report? Nobody will place a comfort. Yes. Nobody will place a comfort. A comfort will be placed only through third-party attestation. That is through the external auditors. Okay. And customers and user entities, they are basically, because customers and user entities, why they are the key stakeholder? Because it is their expectation. SOC 2 report, SOC 1 report is what? It is my expectation. I should get an audit report, external audit report. Why? Because it will provide me an assurance that all the controls that are in place for the services that I am receiving, that are working fine, that are designed effectively, that are operating effectively. Now, open question to the forum. Now, suppose you are working as a GRC professional for one of the IT or say for one of the service provider organization. Okay. Now, what will come under your role? First will be the control advisory. Okay. In case any service is getting onboarded, you are coordinating with the risk assessment team. You are driving the risk assessment questionnaire, coming to the risk, then evaluating the existing control framework with the risk arrived, proposing on the new controls, getting the controls implemented, taking care of the internal compliances. Okay. And for the external audit purpose, will you just coordinate with the external audit? Means when the external audit will ask for the evidences, will you just pass on the evidences and finish? Will you facilitate the external audit, or what you will do when it comes to managing the external auditors? What will be your key scope of activities? What will be your key scope of activities?
I will facilitate the process and give as much evidence as required, not more, not less.
I will not facilitate. I will not only facilitate the process. I will ensure. I will govern my organization from the external auditors. Correct. So
Yes.
how will I
Yes.
govern? So so first is what? The initial data request will come to me. I am the SPOC, I am the GRC, I am accountable, I am the more accountable person, right? So it will come to me, I will analyze it, that whether the requirements are feasible or not, whether the requirements can be shared or not. I will take that call. And once the evidence is, we will not directly pass on the evidence, we'll test independently the evidences. We'll test the evidences as per the requirement list of the external auditors independently. And once we are comfortable, then only we will pass on to the external auditors. Otherwise, we will not pass on.
See, you will provide one more level of assurance before finally passing it on to the.
Correct. And in case there are any sort of gaps, right, we need to prepare a
We will
substantial
fulfill
ground.
that.
Yes.
Yes.
So here it is basically convincing power which is required. Contributing to unqualified audit report, because see, if my internal audit report, even if it comes with an exception or a deviation, it doesn't have that kind of a significant impact. But in case I am not able to provide an unqualified audit report, it is coming with non-conformances, right? Not observations, it is coming with non-conformances. It will impact my stakeholder confidence. Right? So my accountability is also driving the external audits and to contribute to the unqualified audit reports. So anything or any issues that should be dealt independently by a GRC professional, they have that position to challenge and to convince the external auditors. In case there are any gap, they have to prepare the substantial grounds. So for example, I'm just giving you my practical experience. So, I used to work for one of the IT MNCs. I used to work I was accountable for governing the SOC 2 type 2 audit reports, okay, with Deloitte. Now, for one of our controls, there was a control that was defined that vulnerability assessment is in place, okay, and it is properly once the vulnerabilities are getting identified, there are proper remediation that are taken and resolved. That is fine from the control level, that is fine. But from the initial data request, they have asked for the list of vulnerabilities. I, being a GRC professional, from a confidentiality perspective, am I supposed to provide the list of vulnerabilities at my organization to a third party, to an external auditor, or to anyone? If they ask,
No.
am I supposed? No. But the external auditors are also very rigid. They will not. They were also very rigid. They were not able to pass that control, and even they were not able to de-scope that control because it is coming under the information security. Now there is a provision. So under internal standards of auditing, I think section 240, right? So confirmation from the management or it will come under the management response. So in cases or in instances where you are not able to cater the evidence from a confidentiality standpoint, then a management acknowledgement will come under the management response, and on that basis the control will be concluded. So we have taken seek of that, and we have concluded on the control. Similarly, for a business continuity management, there was one instance where the control says that BCM policies are in place, documenting the BIA results. So are you supposed to share the BIA, business impact analysis? Even we being the internal auditors, we don't have access to that document because it is a highly confidential document, right? How I am arriving to my critical business processes or what strategies I am using, I am not supposed to disclose that to anybody. That is only with the leadership and the high level process owners. In that
BIA
case
is
also we
very
have to
highly sensitive,
Correct.
highly sensitive document, and you
Correct,
should
correct.
maintain full confidentiality.
Correct. And it is that's what I am saying, that I being an GRC SPOC also, I didn't have access to that information. So there is no question of catering that evidence to the external auditors. So you have to then take a response or take a confirmation from the management. You have to provide a substantial ground that why you are not able to provide that information. What is the actual confidentiality standpoint that is making you that is preventing you to share that information? You have to provide that substantial justification, and you have to drive the external auditors to conclude on the control. So that is expected out of a GRC professional, and it is a very important role. It is not a direct revenue generation role, but it is a role without which revenue can't be generated. It comes under corporate governance. So without corporate governance, can business governance exist? It will never exist, right? You are earning a lot of revenues, your business is doing fantastic, but here there are regulatory non-compliances. There are gaps. Will your organization sustain? It will not sustain. So corporate governance is basically the baseline of business governance. Business governance is not the baseline of corporate governance, but corporate governance is the baseline of business governance. So regulators are my important stakeholders with whom I can't negotiate. I can't negotiate with my customers, I can't negotiate with my regulators, but I can negotiate with my employees. I can say that, boss, I am not able to this time, I have not earned, my business is not doing well, so I can pay them less salaries. To my suppliers, I can lower the price of the raw materials. But can I say to my regulators that, boss, I will not be able to, pay you taxes because my business is not doing well? They will make sure that your organization is not into existence. So it is a non-negotiable stakeholder, your regulatory compliance. And who is accountable for ensuring your regulatory compliances, your external audits? What kind of governance? It is the corporate governance. And we come directly under the corporate governance. We are not directly playing a role in generation of the revenue, but without us also revenue can't be generated. Is it clear, team? Is it okay, team? You are getting till now whatever has been discussed? Is it fine? Are there any questions? Apart from Ashok, are there any questions with respect to the topics that has been discussed?
I guess everything is clear with everyone. So, right.
Yeah, we're doing fine, and we are enjoying the session.
Thank you,
Sauraj, from the senior management point of view, whom we need to involve, like
okay,
in the stakeholders?
No, involve in what? Means, can you just give
can we
more
go
details?
to previous slide? Like, if we can see the stakeholders, we also mentioned the executive leadership should be there. So
correct.
From executive leadership side, like who all required to have oversight or
See, it is basically what happens. I'm just giving you an example of what happened in my organization. So there is a dedicated, corporate governance committee, okay, or a risk committee. So names are different in different organizations. So in the risk committee, there will be the CFO, CRO, COO, right? So they basically do what? They basically discuss on the functioning of your internal controls at an enterprise level. You got it? At an enterprise level, they will discuss, but not at any customer level. Means at a particular customer level, they will not discuss, because services are different, right? It will come under the senior leadership. So, for example, say any IT MNC, they have a lot of customers, and for each of the customer, there will be different SOC 2 report. But all these discussions, is the CRO accountable for discussing the functioning of these internal controls? No, they are not accountable for discussing all those functioning of the internal controls. Correct. Only, it will be done by the senior leadership or the project leadership at a project level. But at the enterprise level controls, what are the enterprise level controls, or say your SOX controls, your all the internal controls which are operating, that will be discussed at the corporate governance committee. Now here in SOC 2 implementation, what they will do, they will understand what is the requirement of the particular service or particular what I will say, particular customer. They will understand that, okay, they will finance on the SOC 2 all the sponsorship of the SOC 2 report. The finance will come from the CEO, right? And the signatures will be done, the engagement letters, and you understand the difference between engagement letter and the audit charter, right? Engagement letter is basically empowering the external auditor to conduct the external audit. The signatures will be done by the CISO. That will be done by the CISO. Okay. But this discussion, in case there are any gaps or anything, when there are say any gaps at the customer level, then the CISO will get involved. Okay, otherwise it will be the project leadership.
okay. So during
Okay, so
audit, we
just-
don't need to involve them. We just sort of get their approvals or anything required, or what are the
Yes,
controls
you
which
need
are
to
getting
involve your
implemented.
senior leadership.
Yeah.
So you have to understand the nature of the audit. For example, if it is at an enterprise level, say if it is a SOX audit, right? SOX audit is what? The entire organization level audit. Okay, then they will get involved. They will get involved, right? Because in SOX audit, there are governance controls in place where, there should be a dedicated corporate governance committee who is actually discussing on the internal functioning of the controls, because it is operating at an enterprise level. But suppose you are accountable for driving a SOC 2 audit at a customer level. In that case, what is the role of the CEO? First is sponsorship. The SOC 2 audit report will get sponsored by, it will come from the CEO. The CISO will sign the engagement letter. Engagement letter, before starting of the audit, engagement letter is signed. So engagement letter is the letter which empowers the external auditor to conduct the audit. Okay. And after conclusion of the audit, in case there are any gaps or there are any non-conformances, then there will be not only non-conformances, or there are any discussion, high-level discussions, right? Then they will come into picture. Otherwise not. Otherwise it will be the project leadership. So there is a client partner, right? So there is a dedicated client partner for each and every client. So they will come into picture, but the C-suite level officer will not directly come into picture at a client level. They will come only at the conclusion of the audit. And at the beginning of the audit, that is signature and sponsorship, they will come. Okay.
Yeah, okay.
So, team, this is also very important. This is called bridge letter. So, in most of your SOC audits, you will see it is not a audit for the entire period. So sometimes what happens, it is say for 6 months, the audit period is for 6 months, or the audit period is for 9 months. Say in my organization I am working, it is for 9 months, 1st January to 30th of September, or 1st January to 15th of September, right? Now for the rest of the period, generally audits are for 1 year, right? But here, but the external auditor, they are taking the audit period for 9 months. So the rest of the period, who will provide the attestation that or assurance that for the rest of the period the controls are working fine or not? So it is done through issuance of breach letter. So who will issue the breach letter? Is it the external auditor? Because external auditor can't issue the breach letter, because I am not auditing for the rest of the period, right? So it will be issued by the
Service organization manager.
correct.
Service
It is
organization.
service organizations
From-
management. It will be issued by
Yes.
mostly by the client partner. Mostly
Yes.
by the client partner. They issue that
From-
just to have a level
from
of
the end date from the end date of
Yes,
the
please go
last
ahead.
SOC report and the current date. Am I right?
Yes, from the end date of the no. Say for example,
last SOC
generally
report.
audit last SOC report. I'm just giving you an example. Say
Yes.
an auditor, external auditor is doing an external SOC audit. Okay, SOC 2 audit. Now they have taken the period from 1st January to 31st of December. That is the period. That is the actual audit. That is the period. That generally for 1 year. But they
I
are doing
asked
the
you.
audit.
সবাই দাদার
Hello?
ঘাড়ে এসে দাদা এত ব্যস্ত মানুষ সবাই দাদার ঘাড়ে সরি I'm sorry.
Hello? No, that is fine. Okay. So basically, the external auditor is doing the audit from 1st of Jan to 30th of September. They are doing the external, they are doing the SOC audit. They are taking the audit period. But for the rest of the audit period, that is from 30th of September, 1st of October to 31st of December, that period, the breach letter will be issued. It will be not that from 30th of September to yes, correct. So from 30th of September to 31st of December. Again, the audit will start from 1st of January. The next audit. So as you rightly mentioned, Tapada, that it will be from the last date of issuance of SOC report.
Yes.
Okay, from the last date of issuance of SOC report till the next date, the audit actually initiates or starts.
I have a more important question is how this breach letter can be trusted, because the interested party is giving it. The person who is giving is not an external person, but the owner.
Correct. See, the level of trust will be very less for a breach letter. Correct. Because it is provided by the service organization.
So it will have an inherent bias. It will have an inherent bias.
Correct. It will have an inherent bias. That is inherent. But it is just for the purpose, what I will say, it is just for the purpose of that requirement, reporting requirement, or it is a requirement. That's why they are issuing a breach letter. But it is not providing the higher level of trust to the user entity. So suppose at any service organization, there are controls in place where they provide the internal audit report. There are controls, but do they trust on the internal audit report? Does it make sense? No. They will only trust on the basis of right to audit clause. If they send their own auditors to audit, what their auditors will provide about the findings or provide about the results, they will trust on that, and mostly on the external audit report. That they will trust. But breach letter doesn't have that, that is not that level of maturity or not that level of trust to the user entity. It is just, what I will say, it is just a requirement that we are doing. It has to be there, so that's we are doing. Okay, so Why it is called a bridge letter? Because it is bridging the gap. It is bridging the gap means what? Just the previous example, 30th of September, 30th of from 1st of December to from 1st of January to 30th of September. We have taken the audit period. Okay, then from 30th of September to your 31st of December. So that gap is filled by bridge letter. It is providing assurance, but again I repeat, low level of assurance. It is providing low level of assurance to customers and stakeholders that no significant changes have occurred. In most of the bridge letters, you will see that there are no significant changes have occurred. There, it is a unique statement. It will come. Nobody will show you them your gaps. Okay. So, so what is so who is the issuer? So here the issuer is the management, mostly the client partner. And what will be the content? It will be the reference to the last SOC report, the statement, and or an acknowledgement that the controls are in place and there are no material change, and a clarification that it is not an audit. Why there is a clarification that it is not an auditor's opinion? Why they are giving a disclaimer? Why they are giving a disclaimer that it is not an auditor's opinion? Yes, friends. Why I am giving an opinion that why I am putting a disclaimer that it is not an auditor's opinion? Have you seen the bridge letter? In the bridge letter, what is mentioned? To the best of the knowledge, management acknowledges something like that, to the best of knowledge. And then they are putting a disclaimer so that service or the user entity cannot make you accountable, because I have already putting a disclaimer and I am already writing to the best of my knowledge. Then they can't put an blame or accountable. That's why they are putting a disclaimer. You got it? Why they are putting a disclaimer there? When you are using this terminology that to the best of my knowledge, I am giving an assurance that means what? I am
It's
already
shifting the
putting
accountability to the
correct.
service
Manager.
No, I am
organization.
already correct. I am already putting a defensive layer on me. I am already putting a defensive layer on me that to the best of my knowledge. Now, it may happen that it is not up to the best of my knowledge, and I am already putting a disclaimer that boss, it is this is not an auditor's opinion. I am putting a defensive layer over me. They can't put me accountable. They can't blame me. That's it. Okay. So this is the basic difference between SOC report and breach letter. So the issuer, as we discussed, right? The SOC report is basically issued by the external auditor, and the breach letter is issued by the management, mostly by the client partner. Okay. And the assurance level is obviously the higher level auditors. Any independent third party attestation will have a high level assurance, but a breach letter will have limited. And I am making it limited because I am putting disclaimers like to the best of my knowledge and disclaimer and a disclaimer that this is not our auditor's opinion. So I am making it limited accountability. Coverage is for a defined audit period, and here the coverage is the date the date from the last issuance till the date the next audit is starting. And it is a formal compliance evidence. Again, formal compliance evidence, but SOC report, I repeat, it is not actually a compliance. Though we are using it as a compliance, but in actual, it is not a compliance. It is a reporting requirement. And this is a basic assurance, interim assurance for the customer, interim low-level assurance to the customer. Here also, in the issuance of the bridge letter, GRC team plays an important role. This is a draft template, right? I've just put, this is a draft template. Now it can be customized at an organization discretion. Okay. Now, team here also the GRC team is actually, they have role to play. Now, what is the role? You let me know. What is the role in the issuance of bridge letter? What role they play? Yes, friends. I don't know. I don't know with this, but I need your inputs.
Whether they provide an assurance or something like a guarantee, maybe.
See, a client partner is issuing a breach letter, right? But do a client partner have that basic level insights at the process level? What is going on? They don't have that basic level insights regarding the controls, and they only check on the results, right? Now, who will make them aware about the results? It is the GRC team. They will
do the
educate
heavy
them, right?
lifting.
What is
They
correct?
do the heavy lifting.
Correct. They will do the heavy lifting. They will drive them. They will drive them to issue the breach letter. They are the baseline. They are the pillars actually, on which these client partners are dependent, on which the client partners, then your project leaders, everyone is dependent, because they are taking care of that regulatory compliances as well as the internal compliances. Because if I provide an unqualified audit report, my stakeholder confidence increase. There will be more RFPs.
Yeah,
And I am also
correct me if I'm wrong. Correct
Yeah.
me if I'm wrong. The CTO, CFO, they merely sign the document, but actual vetting is done by the GRC team.
Correct. They will sign the document based on the inputs that is provided, based on the inputs that is provided by the GRC team. How would they know? They are high level officials. Do they have that time? Similarly, when you propose a control to them, it is very difficult to convince them, because they want everything in terms of quants. So what is the actual loss? After implementing the control, what is the benefit? And what is the recurring cost for that control? So it has to come in terms of cost or in terms of quant. Then you can agree them. They don't understand all these stuff. They don't have that time. So when they are signing, they heavily rely on the GRC team only, on the inputs given by the GRC team. Is it clear, friends?
Yes, Rich. It's clear.
Okay, team, do you want 2-3 minutes, 5 minutes break, if that is fine, or whatever you will say, we can continue.
I will break for 5 minutes.
Okay, I assume that everyone is fine with that. So
Yes,
we'll
yes.
meet at
Yes.
we'll meet at 12:11 or 12:10. Okay.
Yeah, fine.
Hi team, I'm back. Let's get back. Okay.
Yeah, hi Suraj.
Hi Ashok. Let me share my screen.
I guess still some people has to connect.
I'm back.
Hi.
Yeah, I
I
saw
think
you.
in the I think in the interest of time, let's get started.
Yeah. Okay.
Okay. Now, this is very important, huh? Role of GRC professional in SOC 2 implementation. Okay. This is specific to SOC 2 implementation or a SOC 1 implementation, but I have taken with example to SOC 2 implementation, but the role remains same.
Yeah.
So,
All right.
first of all, we are talking about this GRC. Now, can anyone tell me what is actually, under what line of defense will the GRC come and why? Under the 3 lines of defense, under which line of defense, okay, will the GRC team come and why? Yes, team. Are you aware of the first line of defense, second line of defense? Yes, second line, why second line?
Second line of, because monitoring the GRC, I mean, monitoring activities, and
Yes, monitoring activity is partly correct. Apart from that, apart from monitoring, what is expected? Second line of defense is what? Second line of defense is basically the GRC team. The role of GRC team is, review the policies and procedures.
directly
Yeah, please go
executes the business process. Directly executes the business process. That is the first line of the defense, and independent. Internal audit comes under the third line of the defense.
See, internal audit sometimes, so they, it depends from organization to organizations. Sometimes
you're right.
internal audit is clubbed.
Can I please?
Yeah, please.
I think, in my opinion, it's second line because basically it's an oversight and support function.
Correct. It will be under the second line of
Suppose
defense.
it's always second
It
line.
always second line.
Yeah, it's always second line.
It always second line. Correct.
But nowadays, as Sauraj is supposed to say that nowadays most of the organization, they are merging the third line of defense. I mean, we the internal auditors with GRC team.
Yes. So it is clubbed under only one team, that is risk and compliance team. Okay. And they are accountable for reviewing the policies and procedures. In case of service onboarding, they will, propose that what are the key controls that can be put in place. Okay. There is a dedicated risk assessment team, which is also clubbed under the risk and compliance team. They are taking care of the internal compliances. They are taking care of the software assessment compliance. They are taking care of the audit readiness. They are taking care of the control self-assessment process. Okay. So in a GRC role, what you are expected in a GRC role? So for each and every, say for a service provider, okay, for a service-based organization, so there will be dedicated GRC team at a customer level who is accountable for monitoring the processes, okay, for monitoring the processes or the services which the client or which the service organization is rendering to the client. Okay. So before monitoring, what comes into picture? Before monitoring, implementation will come into picture. And how the implementation will be done? Implementation of what? GRC is accountable for implementation of the control framework, not implementation of the services. Services, the implementation of the services that is driven by the service owners or the SDMs, the service delivery managers, right? They are accountable for implementing the services. But when they are implementing the services, whether the services are implemented in a controlled way or not, whether controls are in place or not, aligning with the principles, SOC 2 principles, or say aligning with the guidelines, control guidelines, that review and that consultation comes under GRC's scope. That will come under GRC's scope. And once this is done, once the controls are ready to be executed, testing, providing recommendation, in case there are any gaps, the remediation, follow-up testing, everything will come under this team. In some organizations, there are different teams. There are internal audit team who will take care of the control testing, then concluding, passing on the results to the stakeholders. Okay, but in nowadays it is coming under one team only. For example, here I have given that SOC 2's logical access control, the GRC team ensures policies mandate MFA, assigns IT security as the owner, and tracks compliance exceptions. Okay. Now coming to this statement. Now, for example, say I am a IT service provider, okay, and I am providing logical access, means access provisioning service, okay, for my client. Now here, I am ensuring that the policies mandate MFA. I am working for a client, but I am ensuring that the policy mandate MFA. How can I ensure that the policies mandate or the policies are in place or not? I am working for a client, say I am an IT MNC, and I am providing service to a user entity. Okay, service means I am providing user access provisioning service or the logical access provisioning service, right? Now, my first key of activity is what? I have to understand the client requirement. What is the client requirement? Right, first there are calls with the service owners. Then GRC team also participates in that call. Now, once they get an overview, what is the actual requirement, they will ensure that at a service organization level, means at a service organization level, SOPs are placed and it gets reviewed, and a go ahead is taken from the client stakeholder or from the client service manager. Okay, and these SOPs should be placed in the client drives, client shared drives, where only the client service owner and the service organization service owner, they have the access. As a part of the GRC team, you will recommend that it should be reviewed annually. In case there are changes, client has to notify that what is the changes. They have to notify.
Only view access.
That's why.
Only view access.
Yes, that is correct. Only view access, but the read only access is, but the write only access is provided only to the service manager, service organization. Absolutely. Service manager. Again, it may it is not a Bible. It may vary from organization to organization. I am just giving you what happened in my organization. I am sharing my experience. Okay. Now, who is accountable for notifying any changes to the process? It is a user entity. The user entity will notify, or it is a vice versa, right? In case I am changing, I am putting any change, it should be mutually agreed. That's it. There should be a mutually agreed, and the SOP should be mutually signed. It should be signed from the client stakeholder. It should be signed from the, and once these SOPs are built, so one activity of the GRC team will be first to build the SOPs, to get them prepared, to put them into the dedicated drive, to make them version controlled, to provide a proper revision history, to make them ensure that it is, the process is briefly enumerated. I have to review that whether the process has been properly defined or not. In case you think that something needs to be changed, it is your duty to educate the service owner. Okay. And once it is done, then only you will check that based on this process, controls are in place or not. Now, when you put the controls in place, when a service organization is putting control in place, they can put controls in place without showing it to the, or without discussing it with my client stakeholders. Does it happen like that? No, it doesn't happen like that. client stakeholders needs to be aware about what are the controls that you are putting. Correct? What you are putting. So for example, again, in my organization or in any service organization, there may be say 200 controls or 150 controls. So do you think the external auditor will, I have my internal audit for those 150 controls. Now, do you think that the external auditor will test all these 150 controls again? Or how they will do, how they will, drive the audit? What will be their audit approach? It will be a risk-based audit approach. They have their own audit acumen. They will review what are the internal controls in place. Correct? What are the internal controls in place? And they will go by the statutes. They will select their own controls based on the risk. They will do their own risk assessment. And then they will provide the report. Again, that has to be mutually agreed with, the client, I mean to say the service owner or the project leadership. There is a call, right? Before execution of the external audit, there is a call, there is a planning call, that what are the controls that we are testing or what will be our scope of audit process. Once you do that, right? Once you do that, you again have to, the GRC team, it is the GRC team's accountability to make the client stakeholder aware of the audit scoping of external audit, whether they are agreeing to that or not. They may ask that they may again ask that, say external auditors have done the scoping, but they are not fine with the scoping. They may want to add additional process. So all the parties are involved, right? But who is driving this? Who is driving this? It is the GRC team. They are basically driving this, right? Okay. Now, any question on this? Team, any question with respect to the understanding? Yes, no, anything?
No.
No, it's clear, Sauraj.
Okay. Now, the compliance assurance perspective, right? What is the compliance assurance? How the GRC team will ensure compliance assurance? Through the external audits as well as through internal audits. External audits means what? I, being a GRC team, I am accountable for driving an external audit as well as providing an unqualified audit report. It is not that I am only passing on the evidences. People are very wrong and they have a wrong notion that I am a coordinator. I will take the evidences from the business process owner and I will pass it. Then why the company will appoint you? It can be done by a 12 standard person also. Why they will appoint you? You are not coordinating, you are not facilitating, you are driving it. Driving is different. You are driving it means you have to drive it in a controlled way, ensuring that you are providing substantial justification for any gaps. You are convincing the external auditors and you are helping to seek an unqualified audit report. And for the internal audit perspective, what the GRC team is accountable for? So in the internal audit perspective is once the controls are ready to be implemented. So there are discussions. In case of service onboarding, you sit with the service owner, you understand the process along with in a call with the service owner as well as your client stakeholders. You ask them to prepare a SOP in the service organization. Okay, ask them to put it in the shared drive. It should be signed by the client. And once this is done, you propose what will be the controls in place. Once the controls are in place, the internal controls, you just ask the service owner to share the list of the internal controls with the with their team, with the client stakeholders. The client stakeholders need to agree. Once they agree, okay, in case of a new, once they agree, then you need to go through the traditional approach. What is the traditional approach? Traditional approach means first the control self-assessment. Self-assessment is what? Control self-assessment. Who is self-assessing the controls? It is the process owner. And I being a GRC professional, I am helping them, I am guiding them to make them self-assess about the controls. How they can self-assess about the controls? whether the evidences are correct or not. For example, in case of user access provisioning, right? This is a new process. How I will make them self-assess the controls? First requirement is what? What are the two key points for any user access provisioning? User access provisioning. First key point is what? A user access request and a approved user access request. One is the approved user access request, and post approval, it will get granted. Now, what is required? What is required in this case? First will be user has to raise access, whether there is a dedicated ticketing tool in place or not. Once they, raise the access, it is going through their line manager or not, and the line manager is approving that request. Post that only, SC task is getting created and the user access is getting provided. So you have to educate that this is the way the control will operate. Once the process owner gets educated, correct, they have assessed, you have made them assess the controls, that this is the way, and you have made them understand that these are the evidences that you will require. First is the user access request. Second is the approval, the ticket, the RITM ticket, where all the approval mails will be there. There will be a subsequent SC task, and in the SC task, a screenshot should be there, uploaded by the user access governance team. You made them aware. Once they are aware, they will start executing the controls. Once the controls get executed, okay, that means the controls have been implemented. Then you will start with the testing of the controls as per your defined frequency. Is it fine, friends? You are getting it?
Yes.
Similarly,
The GRC is proactive, operations is real time, and assurance team is reactive.
correct. So GRC and assurance team, okay, they are clubbed under the GRC team only right now.
Right.
So there is a
Right.
combination of proactive. There is a combination of proactive and reactiveness.
And reactive.
Both.
Reactive.
Correct.
Yes.
Correct. And they are also helping, as we discussed, they are also helping to issue the bridge letters. You got it? They are helping to issue the bridge letters, as we discussed in our last example. Okay.
Yes. Yes.
And they are ensuring audit readiness and stakeholder. How they are ensuring the audit readiness? How the GRC team ensures the audit readiness? Through internal audits, through
Yes.
control self-assessment, right? Through
Before
internal.
internal audit, what are the points raised? GRC professional ensure those are closed before finally the external audit. So the external audit report must be clean. That's one of the
Correct.
responsibilities. of
Correct.
GRC.
Of course, the GRC team will enforce everything in an organization.
Correct. Absolutely. So that will come under your audit readiness. So basically, your internal audit is also a control. Internal audit is what?
Yeah, of course.
It is a detective control. And what is a KCI for that control? What is a KCI for, sorry, I'm just going into very specifics. So internal audit control is a detective control, and what will be the indicator of the effectiveness of internal audit control? The gaps, how fast the gaps are getting closed. That will be the indicator. That also the GRC team, implements that also. That how fast, within what is the exact timeline of resolving the gaps and of implementing the remediation. But in a normal audit, what they will do, they will ask for the remediation. In the GRC team will propose the remediation and will convince the stakeholders to get the remediation implemented within the proposed timelines. And they do proper follow-up testing, and everything is closed before the audit. So we are audit ready. So we are ensuring, so the GRC team is ensuring audit defensibility. You got it?
Yes, absolutely.
So basically, what is the role of a GRC professional? Here I have tried to provide some examples. So for example, from the security perspective, say multi-factor authentication. What is the role of the GRC? say there are new applications which are getting onboarded, and for example, there are third-party applications which are getting onboarded. Okay, and from the client perspective, and the GRC team and they have asked that there should be multi-factor. You are accountable for checking the multi-factor authentication compliance, and you are also accountable for providing the logical access provision. Now here, what the GRC team is responsible? They will first assist or educate the BAU owners. Okay, that from the application security perspective, what is important? Our role will be providing the logical access, that is user access provisioning. Okay, user access provisioning, one preventive control, one detailed user access review should be there. And here, same for multi-factor authentication, what you need to do? You need to provide it. You need to detail that in your SOP. You need to detail that what will be the actual MFA policy. And once that administrative policy is built, on that basis, the technical configuration will be implemented at the backend. Otherwise, for example, client has told that, boss, I need this MFA policy to be implemented. You have not created any policy. You are directly, and there is a verbal communication. You are directly implemented that at the backend. There is no service request. There is no inclusion of the the client requirement in the policy. It is not mentioned in the statement of work. Nothing is mentioned over there. Only on the basis of verbal communication you are doing it. Do you think that is in the correct sequence? Your documented information is missing. Those who are ISO 27001 certified or who are aware, I hope that you are aware of a clause called support. In support, there is a sub-clause called documented information. In documented information, your audit work papers, your process and policies, your SOPs, everything should be documented. Your client communications, your client expectation, your SOWs, everything should be documented. So what the GRC team here is doing? GRC team here is monitoring, is understanding the expectation, monitoring, and putting it into process. Now, once he is putting that into process, who is accountable for implementing it? For implementing the MFA? It is the IT security team. They are accountable for implementing it. But I am accountable for driving the entire process. So once this is done, what are the evidences that is required for this control? Okay, that evidence gathering or evidence creation, evidence folder. So in some of the GRC teams, you will see there are separate evidence folders which the GRC team keeps. They keep a track. They keep them separately. They keep their work papers. So that is also, they are making it audit ready. That's it. They are making it audit ready. Same for availability also. If you see that example, here it is the disaster recovery testing. Say it is one of the DR testing. It is DR drill. It is one of the control requirement which has come from the client stakeholder. The DR drill should be done. So how would you place that control? What is the purpose of DR drill? Or what is a control? Means what is the type of the control? It is a preventive control, detective control. What kind of control is this? A DR drill. It is a corrective control, right? Why you are doing drill? Why you are doing drill? It is a combination of detective as well as a corrective control. Correct.
To correct any lacunae. If there is any deficiency, I can correct it.
Correct.
That's
correct.
one of
So
the
what? Correct. So first you understand, first you educate them that what is the type of the control. Why the client has asked you to do a DR drill and you are sharing the stakeholders the DR drill result. So first is what? You have to prepare a DR succession rate. What is the data restoration succession rate? Right? That you have to prepare. That who will take that call? That will be taken. The call will be taken by the owners, service owners. But you have to do that. That education has to be given by the GRC team. If you are not, creating any threshold, how do you come into the conclusion whether the DR drills are happening correctly or not? There should be some indicators, right? So you educate them. Once you educate them, so first is a DR drill should be performed. Now, how DR drill should be performed? You propose a process that it should be done through a change management process. A change ticket should be raised. It will go through the correct, appropriate, spokes, and then the DR drill will be performed. The test results will be shared in the change ticket, and the corresponding C task will be closed. Okay. Why I am proposing a ITSM process? Why I am proposing a ITSM process? Why I am not saying that okay, you can do it through mails and other things? Why I am proposing an ITSM process? Why I am asking them to do through a change management process?
Because it requires a proper approval channel and documentation, right?
Correct. Audit defensibility. If I am doing through any particular tool, ticketing tool, all my logs, all my tickets, everything, my audit defensibility, right? When the external auditor will come, I can show them, and the control will pass. But if I am doing through a mail management process in traditional organization, if I lose the mail, it will fail, right? I can't say that I have lost the mail.
So this
Because
will
too
ensure
much of-
traceability.
Correct. Traceability and accountability.
Both.
Traceability
both.
as well
Yes,
as an accountability, both.
absolutely.
Okay. Now, similarly for data, I think for previously I already discussed. Okay. Now processing integrity, change management workflow. What is change management workflow? Or workflow enforcement? What is that?
Suppose a change is created and how the approval goes, like whether it based on the risk type, it is an emergency request or something. So how the flow works.
No, you're correct.
It is a
but,
structured process to use it to manage the changes against the systems.
yeah, that is also correct. But when I talk about the workflow restriction, suppose for example, all of you say, example, you raise a reimbursement claim. It will directly go to your line manager. You don't have to select anybody. You are getting it. You are not selecting anybody in the system. You are just raising it, and it is directly moving to the workflow restriction. What it is ensuring? It is ensuring a SOD conflict, right? I don't have to select anybody from the workflow tool. Once I just put the reimbursement claim under the proper head, it is automatically taking that line manager. It is automatically going to my line manager. Similarly, in a change management workflow, say if there are suppose some changes, you have taken the description of a particular change. Okay, so you have taken that this is a description of that particular change. Now, when you raise that change request, okay, and it is going through a normal change request process, you don't have to select any developer. I'm just giving you a hypothetical example. You don't have to select any who will be the list of developers. On the basis of the description and on the basis of the type, it will automatically get routed to the developers, to the developer group. Once the developer have passed and they have clicked that the testing has been passed, then again it will automatically go to the QA team. The developer do not have to. Hello. Okay. The developer do not have to automatically select any QA. Okay, they do not have to select any QA professional. It will automatically go. Now this is called workflow restriction. Why? Why the workflow restriction? It ensures SOD conflict. Correct? Because when I am raising an incident, if I have an option to select anybody from the drop down, it may happen that I am selecting somebody who is in favor and whom I like most, and it is getting routed to that person. Then how the SOD conflict will be tracked? For that control, I only have to rely on the logs. Once the logs are extracted, then only I can detect that somebody has done any malfunctioning or not. But if I am putting a workflow restriction at the first shot, it is a most stronger preventive control. You got it? It is the most stronger preventive control, and it is directly routing to the appropriate personnel to do the work. Is it clear, friends? What I'm trying to say, workflow restriction, this is very important in case of change management. We'll come to that, the SOD conflict part.
Yeah, it's clear, sir.
Yes.
Okay. Now, a role of the GRC team in managing the external auditors. I think we discussed all these stuffs. Whatever has been discussed, I think it is there. I'm just keeping a pause. Okay. I would request you to just give a quick glance over it and just let me know in case you have any queries with understanding. I can give you practical example and I can, try to solve your queries. So pre-audit preparation, what does that mean? Pre-audit preparation, control readiness. Conduct internal testing of the SOC 2 controls. See, I'm giving SOC 2 because I'm just giving an example, but it is consistent. It can be in case of SOC 1, SOC 3, everything, but this is the normal approach. Okay. So pre-audit preparation is what? Conduct internal testing of the SOC 2 controls before the auditors arrive. Okay. So obviously, so you have your internal audits in place. If you don't have your internal audit, if you're only relying on the external audit, then how are you ensuring your audit defensibility? Or in case of your regulatory compliance, for example, regulators come, say SEBI or RBI is doing an audit. Correct. RBI is doing an audit of any bank and a bank says that I don't have internal audit mechanism in place. Do you think then the external audit, I mean to say RBI will not raise any concerns over that? Do you think?
Definitely they raise a concern.
Correct. Because internal audit, it is one of the requirement. Because internal audit ensures whether the internal controls over financial reporting or whether the internal controls are working fine or not. If I go from the SOX perspective, what does 404A says? 404 says management here means senior leadership. Senior leadership should ensure that internal controls over financial reporting are designed appropriately and are deemed to be operating effectively. Now, how the leadership will ensure? Leadership will ensure only through the internal risk and compliance team, right? Otherwise, how will they ensure? They will not be able to ensure, right? They will be able to ensure only through the risk and compliance team, only through the internal audits. And what 404B says, 404A is management is ensuring, and 404B is each and every organization needs to get externally audited, SOX externally audited. That is a 404B requirement. Now, it is not only in case of SOX. If you go by the Indian Companies Act, if you go by the provisions of ICAI, okay, for Indian companies, same logic. Logic is same. Only the acts are different. Okay. Audit coordination. Again, coordination, don't take this word lightly. Coordination doesn't mean that you are a single point of contact. You are just collecting the evidences and you are providing the evidences. No. From today onwards, remember that you are not the coordinator. You are the driver. That's it. This is a very wrong notion. You are not the coordinator. You are basically the driver. You are driving. So your first and foremost KPI will be to help to seek an unqualified audit report. That is your first point. That is your first KPI as a GRC professional. Okay. I think this you can read. This is the same thing. I think we have already discussed. You can just read. Okay. Now, open question. in case of an IT service company is providing IT infra support, including both financial application, DB, OS, and non-financial application to the same customer, which SOC report should the service organization share with the user entity? Okay, now I am just unsharing my screen. I want you to answer this question. So for example, the same IT service company and the client is same. So I am providing two kind of services. One is the IT infra support. Okay. IT infra support for both the financial application as well as non-financial application. Now, which type of SOC report will I issue? Yes, team. Which type of SOC
Both
report?
SOC 1 as SOC 1 and SOC 2 both, depending on the
Correct.
scope.
Both.
Correct.
Point
We
in
can't
time
say-
and point over time. Both are required.
Correct. Because I can't say that, boss, it is the same client. I am already providing one report, so that will that is fine. I can't say that. I can't say that. So I have to share both the reports. Even though I am providing support for the financial application, for the non-financial application. Why both report? Because the same organization to whom I am providing the the service, he will require the SOC 1 report for his SOX compliance. He will require that. In SOC 2 report, there will no coverage, right? There will be no coverage. Then how the external auditors for doing the SOX compliance for that user entity will take a will take a comfort for the financial application for which we are providing IT infra support? How they will take a comfort? That's why SOC 1 audit report comes into picture now for SOX compliance. Okay, you can just read it. That why it is important. You got it, friends? You can just read this.
Yes.
Okay, this I think we can do tomorrow, but I am giving 10 minutes for any open questions. Ashok told that Ashok has some questions. Ashok, you can just let me know and I'm happy to take it up.
Yes, Raj. So here is a question where everyone will get aware. So let's say there is a service organization which is already IS 427,001 certified. Okay. Now it provides data processing services for two different organizations, right? Okay. So those two user organizations asked for SOC 2 report. Now this service organization will publish two different SOC 2 reports for two different organizations, or else only one SOC 2 report.
No, see, in the first, in the beginning, I already mentioned, right? ISO has nothing to do with SOC 2. ISO
That's
will
okay,
come
that's
under
okay.
your. Okay. Now, if there are two organizations, two data processing services, right? You mentioned that there
Yes.
are two data processing organizations, right? Which for which the same service provider is providing services.
Yes.
Okay. If I
Yes.
understand, obviously there will
Yes,
be two
yes.
SOC 2 report. So you think of ITC. ITC has different clients. ITC Infotech, there are different clients.
Yes.
Correct. There are different clients. They are catering services to different clients. Now
Yes.
there will be different SOC 2 reports. It is because the statement of work will be different, right? Your
Exactly.
SOW, which is mentioned in the MSA, that
Exactly.
will be
If
different.
we
Some
are
might,
sharing the same SOC 2 report
it
for
doesn't make
two
sense.
different organizations, there will be a chance for confidentiality breach also.
And there is also a catch. What about the user entity complementary controls? There is a section in the user
They
and
do
user
differ.
entity.
Yeah, they do differ.
Yes. If you are providing the same audit and if you are putting the same user entity control in the same report, you are at your job is at stake, boss, because you are
Yes.
already doing a data privacy breach.
Yes.
You are already not only for the same not only for different organizations. See, not only for different organizations. If it is under the same group, but it is a different ancillary. You
Yes.
got it? If it is under
Yes.
the same business umbrella, but it is a different ancillary, it is a different subsidiary, you have to issue a separate SOC.
Yes.
Because user entity complementary controls will be different. You
Yes.
can't put it. Your job will be at
Yes.
stake. Nobody can
Yes.
save you.
Yes. I just want to clear the myth among
Absolutely.
us by asking this question.
No,
So,
if somebody tells you, just challenge them. Just challenge them upfront. Just tell them that this doesn't happen. What ISO
exactly.
has to do with
Exactly.
SOC 2? Both are different.
Exactly.
Just explain
Yes.
that ISO 27001 or ISO is a third-party audit. Third-party audit means
Exactly.
what? It is done by an independent certification body. And
Yes.
second-party audit is done at the requirement of the customer. The report is only accessible to the customer. And ISO
Yes.
is accessible to the customer, to the business partners, to the financial institution, to the public, to the general public, to the investors, to everyone.
Yes.
It is
Everyone.
based on
Everyone.
it is based on enterprise governance, and SOC 2
Yes.
is based basically on the services, on the controls that are
Yes.
implemented for the services at the client level. Both are
Yes.
totally different.
Yes.
Because I am not comfortable showing you the user entity complementary controls, right?
Exactly.
Why
You're
I
right.
should show it? Why I should
Yes.
show it to you?
Yes.
That's why the accessibility is limited.
Yes.
Even
So
same
Saurabh,
for the same. Yeah, please go ahead. Please
sorry.
go ahead.
So Saurabh, you mean like if let's say we have a group company and it has, let's say, 4-5 entities within that, so we cannot do this SOC 2 type 2 audit for a group level so that all the entities will be covered.
No, it depends actually on the audit acumen. Again, what is the requirement from the customer? Now, if the group company, if there is an agreement in place that they are asking that for all the ancillary you have to do, okay, it depends on the agreement. Then you have to provide only one report. But ideally, say there is a group, say Tata Group. Under Tata Group, there is TCS, there is Tata Consumer Products, there is Tata Beverages, there is. So for that, is there only one SOC report? Does it happen? Because the product lines are different, the service lines are different. Correct? The product lines are different for each and every group company. So obviously, logically, the SOC 2 report will also be different. Because your product lines are different. If your product lines are different, your user entity complementary controls will be also different. It will not be the same.
Okay. But if let's say product
please go
line
ahead.
is the same, but it is located in different, let's say the entity names are different in different countries. So can we, I mean, will that be utilized under group like?
It can be utilized. Again, it depends on the nature of the agreement. What is the nature of the customer agreement that you are entering? For example, Shell. I'm giving you the most recent example. I work for a client called Shell. I used to work for a client, right? Now, Shell comes under the umbrella of Royal Dutch Shell. Now, there is Shell Oman, Shell Netherlands, Shell Bangalore, Shell Budapest. Now, this will come under. Now, it depends on the customer agreement. Now, in the customer agreement, they have asked to cover Shell Bangalore, then Shell Manila, then Shell Germany, Shell Netherlands. They have asked. If they have, because the product line is same, it is oil and energy, and the customer agreement, it is coming from a group level direction from Shell Group, then it is fine. But it happens only in case if the product line is same. But if the product lines are different and there are different legal entities, for example, think of the offshore entities. Okay, say for example, Wells Fargo. Wells Fargo is operating in Bangalore, correct? And Wells Fargo,
Yeah.
the offshore center is operating in Bangalore, and your main parent organization is at I mean to say is at US, and there is also is in Philippines. There is also a unit in Philippines, right? But do you think for Bangalore, okay, the audit report, it will be only one audit report? Because offshore center is a different legal entity. It is coming under the same company logo, but the legal entity is different. That's why it is Wells Fargo India Private Limited Solutions. You got it? That's why it is
Okay.
coming under India Private Limited Solutions. So you have to understand it. There are a lot of discussions which happen, and that is not at the GRC level. That is basically at the C-suite levels and the leadership level. You get exposure to that, and you need to understand what is the nature of the agreement. On that basis only, the scoping will be done.
Okay, sure.
Yes, friends. Any other queries? I'm happy to help. This thing I will take up tomorrow, because if I go today, I think it will be little boring for you. And tomorrow we will be, from tomorrow onwards, we will be starting with all the practical sessions. So I prepared a RCM. So we will brainstorm ourselves on the practical sessions. Okay, I will make you aware with all the controls, what can be the key controls and how are you going to test those controls. A basic guideline. Yes, friends. Any other questions? Happy to help.
I have very basic question. This if someone is calling for type 2 audit, external audit, they means the type 2 is completed, right? And they're requesting for type 2, SOC 2 type 2.
No, I didn't get your question. Can you please come again?
My question is, there is RFP floated in one of the company requesting for the proposals for SOC 2 type 2 audit. So that means they have already completed SOC 2 type 1, then only they go for SOC 2 type 2, or how it
Exactly,
is?
Mujib. Exactly.
Yes, that is actually correct. They have
But
completed the
actually,
type
if
1.
they didn't
But
go for
again,
type 1, they have to go for type 1, and later they have to go for type 2, even though they are asking for that. That means their goal is to achieve SOC 2 type 2.
So
no,
that means
you have to
someone is
understand.
already.
Mujib,
Yeah.
one thing, I sorry to interrupt. You have to understand, in type 2, what is the coverage? What is the coverage of type 2?
The effectiveness means already designed, and we're checking the effectiveness. That 6 months.
And what is the coverage? What is the coverage for SOC 2 type 1?
The design of the control, the trusted
The design of the
controls.
control for a period, or as on a date? As on date or for a period? It is as on the date. So which is providing a greater level assurance? Which is providing a greater level assurance? It is the type 2, because it is for a period.
Type 2.
It is for a period.
6 months.
It is for not only 6 months. It can be for 9 months. It can be for 12 months. It can be for any month. Correct. But if they are asking for a type 2 report, that doesn't mean always that they have conducted the type 1, because there is no requirement like that you have to complete the type 1 audit report, then only you have to complete the type 2 audit report. No, I am not aware. I am not aware there is a requirement like that. No. But from the coverage perspective and for the assurance perspective, type 2 report is mostly recommended, because it covers both design effectiveness and operating effectiveness, not as on a particular date, but for a particular period.
Understand.
It provides a greater level assurance.
I can ask the customer whether I have done type 1 or not. If they have done type 1, then we can review that one. Otherwise, it's more is
No,
type 2.
You being a GRC professional, you can't ask anything. It is the customer discretion. Customer will ask you that whether you will provide a SOC 1 report or a SOC 2 report. See, we are driven by the customer, right? There is a right to audit clause, right? They have to agree. You can't say that, boss, I will provide you a SOC 1 or I will provide you a ISO 27001. You take a comfort from those. No. They will say, okay, you leave with your compliances. I am leaving you. I am going to a competitor. You have to understand the customer expectation. It has to be mutually agreed. Correct. Whenever we do our SOC report, it gets mutually agreed with the stakeholder. We can't keep them unaware and go. And even the scoping part also, the audit scoping also, you have to see there is dedicated supplier assurance team from the client perspective as well. They will review the scoping part, and they can also put in. They can, if they are not comfortable with the scoping, they can ask that, boss, you please put these controls also in your SOC 2 report. They can ask. You can't challenge them that you will not do that. You can convince them. You can discuss with them. You can't challenge them. It is their requirement, right?
Yeah.
That's why.
Understand.
That's why they have made you sign the right to audit clause. And right to assess compliance means they will have access. They will have access to all the certifications. That is ISO 27001, HIPAA, GDPR, anything, SOC certification. If they are putting right to assess compliance, they can ask for those certifications.
Can I interrupt? If you don't
Yes,
mind.
absolutely.
A lot of big organizations, they don't allow you RTA. See, they will not allow you to go and audit like big cloud service as you AWS. So you have to rely on the third party because they will just not allow you, because the agreement has to be according to their terms. You cannot go and say that I will.
No,
These are
absolutely. Absolutely, I agree with you. Absolutely. But they will not allow, and you can't challenge from their side also, this user entity. And if the user, it has to come to a break even. It has to break even somewhere. So it has to be mutually agreed.
Exactly.
Correct. So for example, AWS may not allow you to directly audit, but AWS cannot say that I will not provide you any audit report. Then how will
they
it
will not say that as an alternate. They will give you some report.
And if the organization is asking that you have to we are not comfortable, please provide me a SOC 2 audit report. They have to be. They can't say that no, we can't give you SOC 2 audit report. Then what will do? Then the user entity will leave. Then the user entity will leave. Simple.
Yes. Either this or that. Either they have to provide
either this or that.
Yes.
Yes, it has to break even somewhere. It has to break even somewhere. Okay. Yes, friends. Any other queries?
Thank you. Thank you for clarification.
No worries. Any other queries? Or can we call it a day? Or conclude on the session? Any other queries? I'm happy to take it up. So I will share you the session. Recording will be shared, and all these things, I think readable version will be shared with you. Please go through it. Okay. So it is just read it like a newspaper. Okay. Just read it like a newspaper. Get actually a flavor of the concepts. And if you have any queries, just put it in the group, or you can reach out to me. I'm already there in the group. You can reach out to me anytime. I'll be happy to help.
Yeah.
So can we conclude on the session? Can we call it a day?
Yes.
Sir.
Yes.
Okay, team. Thank you so much for all your help and
Thank
for
you,
participating.
everyone.
Thank you, everyone.
Thank you, everyone.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you for your
Tomorrow
Thank you so
we'll
much
again
for the
meet.
time.
Yeah. Thank you so
Thank
much.
you.
Thank you. Good night.
Bye bye. Take care.
Bye.
Bye.
Bye, everyone.